Thank you to each of you for joining us for a very important announcement. An announcement that is important to the University of Louisville and important to the University Medical Center. But more importantly, an announcement that is good for the people of our community and our region. An announcement that ensures all people in our community will have access to the very best in medical care. Today we're announcing that the University of Louisville and University Medical Center have entered into a long-term partnership with KentuckyOne Health. I got so excited I messed it up. As you know, UMC is a relatively small inner-city hospital responsible for the health care needs of a large indigent and uninsured population. Both the Board of Directors of UMC and an independent consultant working on behalf of the community determined that a partnership was critical so that UofL and UMC could continue to achieve its mission. As Dr. David Dunn will explain, the selection of KentuckyOne Health is as a result of a 9-month request for proposal process. The partnership that we are announcing is that of a joint operating agreement. The UMC board will continue to exist, allowing us to maintain control of this important public asset. We are excited to have KentuckyOne as a partner. Our organizations have an alignment of mission and vision. We have a shared commitment to the very best in research and education, and we have historical collaborations with our friends at Jewish Healthcare going back over 60 years. The resources that KentuckyOne will provide to both UMC and the University of Louisville ensure that we can continue to be a leader in medical education, medical research, while providing the very best in clinical care. We first want to thank Governor Beshear for his leadership over the past year in making this partnership a reality. The Governor and his staff have helped us work through important public policy issues that needed to be addressed to ensure that this partnership could happen and be successful. Also, I want to express our deep appreciation on behalf of the University of Louisville to Governor Beshear for his ongoing friendship and support of the University of Louisville. From the approval of 2 different tax increment financing districts to enhance economic development in our community, to funding important campus improvements, and other support, Governor Beshear is helping us achieve our statutory mandate of being a premier, nationally recognized metropolitan research university. It's a great honor for me.
Thank you. I'm sure that those of you who know me well are saying, wow, those are nice glasses. As a matter of fact, I participated in healthcare in Kentucky about a week ago when I had a retina reattached that had detached, and I'm happy to report that it was a successful operation, and they tell me in 4 or 5 weeks I'll be as good as new. So I'm happy about that, but I'm even more happy to be here today to celebrate this new partnership. You know, this is a successful completion of an RFP process that has brought together the University Hospital, the James Graham Brown Cancer Center, and KentuckyOne Health. The University of Louisville and others have worked hard to create a partnership that benefits and protects everybody involved. Others I know today will talk about a lot of the details of this new partnership. But I'm here to tell you that as it is put together and as it is written, these agreements fit within the legal and policy framework that I, along with Attorney General Jack Conway and others, articulated when these issues first came to the forefront more than a year ago. as you know, we had several concerns about any planned partnership with University Hospital, and with this arrangement, the University of Louisville has met each of them to our satisfaction. Number one, UofL and the Commonwealth retain ownership of the hospital and the cancer center, which are critical public assets. Number two, this partnership with KentuckyOne maintains and strengthens University Hospital's core medical and academic public missions to provide health care for our most vulnerable populations, including women's health services, and to serve as a source of high-level teaching and learning for hundreds of healthcare professionals each year. Under this agreement, patients in the future will continue to receive the same level and quality of services that they currently receive here at University Hospital. Number three, it provides University Hospital the financial stability it needs in this challenging atmosphere while giving it the freedom and the room to grow. Kentucky's strength is its people, and the health of our people is a critical element in every aspect of our future, from quality of life to economic competitiveness. And in a time when every public dollar is stretched precariously thin, we must continue to leverage our healthcare resources to provide the best benefit to the most people. University Hospital, because of its dual mission as both provider and educator, is particularly valuable in that effort. A strong and healthy University Hospital is good for education. It's good for economic development. It's good for Kentucky. I want to congratulate everybody that's been involved in this effort. University Medical Center President and Chief Executive Officer Jim Taylor, UofL President Jim Ramsey, who is chairman of the Medical Center Board. A special thanks to Dr. David Dunn, Executive Vice President of Health Affairs for UofL, who led this effort in many ways. And there are many others at the hospital and university, all of whom were involved in bringing this partnership about. I also want to congratulate KentuckyOne Health CEO Ruth Brinkley and her team for working diligently to bring about this partnership. And I look forward to watching as this partnership continues to provide the quality health care and teaching that University Hospital has come to be known for. It's an exciting day. Congratulations to everybody.
Again, thank you, Governor, very much for your comments and for being here, but also all your work to make this happen. Very good friend of mine who is a supporter of the university, supporter of higher education, and has been there for us every step of the way, is with us today in the audience, and I want to recognize Representative Larry Clark. Larry. Attorney General Jack Conway has been instrumental in our efforts to develop a partnership that ensures and safeguards UMC as a state asset. Jack and his staff have provided counsel and direction as we've worked through the complexities of this transaction and this partnership. Attorney General Conway, we want to thank you for your efforts, for all that you've done to make this day possible, and we'd like for you to come forward and make comments.
Well, thank you, Jim. I'm very pleased that this day has arrived, and I think you're doing an excellent job as the president of our Chief Metropolitan Research University. And I say that term, Chief Metropolitan Research University, because I've known Jim Ramsey for almost 20 years. We go way back. And I can say this, I think Jim's greatest strength in terms of developing public policy and leadership is his persistence. It's his persistence. I have been, over the years, Jim, in many a meeting with Jim Ramsey. And the terms, no, you can't do that, never come out of his mouth. It's always, I'm going to go back and figure out a way. And I do mean that. I mean that with all sincerity. I know it's humorous for all of you that know Jim very well and have been in those meetings with him. But that is Jim's greatest strength. It's persistence. But it's persistence on the part of the larger public good. It's persistence on the part of his love for this university, and it's persistence on his part for the love of his job. So, Jim, I'm happy this day has arrived, and congratulations. I particularly want to thank Dr. David Dunn for the way he conducted this process, for the way he structured the RFP process, for contacting us at the appropriate time to show us what they were thinking about, maintaining a confidential process where we could provide guidance to them. I think it sends an important message to our community and to the taxpayers here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and in Jefferson County that the message that they have been sending, one of transparency, one of due diligence, and making certain that we thought through our path forward, that it was heard and that it was followed. I appreciate the university heeding the guidance laid out in the report that we issued last December when we looked at a proposed merger and decided perhaps we needed a different path. Obviously, the concerns that we cited from a legal and public policy standpoint were followed, and chiefly that the merger did not completely cede control of a state asset. This time, the university is engaged in a process that will allow the public an opportunity to conduct a transparent review after the fact, and it also provides the accountability that is necessary for an institution such as this. I appreciate, again, the RFP process. I appreciate engaging our staff for comments along the way, and I have to say here today that we did not, in working with the university and working with David Dunn and working with Jenny Elliott and others on her team, we did not see anything in the term sheet, or we did not see anything in this proposed agreement that will prevent the governor from signing it and from this going forward. In fact, under the current terms, the Commonwealth of Kentucky retains authority to oversee the new agreement through the affiliation and through the lease. This is a joint operating agreement between University Hospital and KentuckyOne Health. It's going to infuse this medical center with over $1 billion in present value over the term of the agreement. But it also maintains state control of the hospital. It does not transfer a state asset. It protects women's health. It maintains all current services, and it ensures the hospital's ability to help care for our community's indigent. And it also provides the funding needed to continue the wonderful legacy of medical innovation and groundbreaking care here at University Hospital in Louisville. And the partnership also means that treatment will be the same for everyone next month that it was yesterday. No one's going to be shuttled, and everyone's going to receive the care that they need in this community. It means the process worked. We got there. And thanks to the diligence of this community, thanks to the leadership team here at UofL, KentuckyOne Health, and the former Jewish hospital, I believe we've reached an agreement that everyone can be proud of and everyone can look forward to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. And Jack and I did have the opportunity to work together. We've been in a lot of foxholes together over a number of years. And we worked together on what I think is one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of the state, Post-Secondary Education Improvement Act of 1997. So, Jack, your words mean a lot to me. I wish my wife were here. She says that persistency is stupidity. So I wish she were here. We have a dynamite board of trustees at the University of Louisville, and they have believed in us and have been with us and helped us work through a lot of very difficult issues. And so there's so many of the members of our board of trustees here. I'd like for them to stand and for everyone here to thank them for all their service to the Commonwealth. Approximately 18 months ago, we recruited Dr. David Dunn, and you've heard me mention David, and you've heard the governor, and Jack mention David. But we recruited Dr. David Dunn to come to the University of Louisville. And we told him if he came, he would stay busy, and it would be exciting. I was a little worried about his health about 9 or 10 months ago when he had some heart problems, but David is part of the University of Louisville family. He's our Executive Vice President for Health Affairs. David is part of our leadership team at the University of Louisville. And I think it was Bob Hughes, and I saw Bob around here, who at our board meeting last week said it was David's job to be the closer, to come in and to finish the concept, finish the transaction. And so, David, we thank you for believing in us, coming to the University of Louisville, for your tireless work on behalf of the hospital, on behalf of medical education, clinical care, and the research at the University of Louisville. And I cannot express to you enough the level of appreciation I have for you and your team for working with the Governor and the Attorney General to restructure the partnership to address the issues that have been mentioned so that we can move forward. Dr. David Dunn.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. Let me just open by telling all of you that first and foremost, we wouldn't be here except for the vision and the experience that Jim Ramsey brings to the table. It's now his 10th anniversary as president of the U of L, I think almost to the day. Without his persistence, and I agree with that, counsel and advice and support, we wouldn't be standing here making this announcement. And I also want to echo the thanks to the Board of Trustees for the trust that they put in me, as well as Jim, to close this deal. And that's what we're talking about today, because we do have an absolutely remarkable transaction to discuss with you. It has been a remarkable journey. A little over 10 months ago, upon the advice and counsel of both the Governor of the Commonwealth as well as the Attorney General, we issued a request for proposal. The Governor had told us, and you've heard the reasons why we needed to cast our net more widely to determine what the best partnership would be. There have been questions about the RFP process, about what people perceive to be a lack of transparency. In fact, as Attorney General Conway has already articulated, it is a very transparent process in the end. We function under state procurement guidelines, and of necessity, we did not discuss details because this was a competitive negotiation process. Now, for the reasons that have already been mentioned, we knew that UMC needed a health system partner. It's an indigent care hospital. It's a safety net hospital. It provides absolutely mission-critical health care to the entire Louisville area, the region, and even beyond the Commonwealth. So we knew we needed a partner, but what I think was not well recognized is that as UMC's fortunes rise and fall, so rise and fall the fortunes of the UofL Health Science Center. We're completely joined at the hip. And so the importance of this transaction that we're entering into, this partnership with KentuckyOne, assures the longevity and the growth and the sustainability of both UMC as well as the UofL Health Science Center. Now, in March, we received two proposals, one of which was from KentuckyOne, the other was from Health Management Associates based in Naples, Florida. We entered into the competitive negotiations that I've already alluded to, and we kept both the Governor and the Attorney General abreast at all stages of the negotiations. After careful consideration and weighing a wide number of factors, KentuckyOne has been chosen for the reasons that Dr. Ramsey discussed. Now, what makes this different than what we were proposing a year ago? Well, as you've already heard, it's a joint operating agreement. It's not a merger. UofL and UMC retain full control of the assets, and this is a public asset. We've addressed the Governor and Attorney General's concerns related to the unlikely event of an unwind in which those assets would come back to the Commonwealth on behalf of UofL and UMC. And most importantly, perhaps, we will be able to provide all of the current services, all of the current clinical care today and going forward in the future that we provided in the past. And one of the things about that is the level of indigent care. I'll just emphasize again, we're the safety net hospital for the entire region. The folks who have no voice in how health care is rolled out have a voice in terms of the U of L and UMC. As the head of the UofL Health Science Center and its 4 schools and 14 centers and institutes, I want to say that I know we could not have found a better partner than KentuckyOne. This long-term relationship ensures that we will be able to grow our academic mission, continue to teach and train the next generation of healthcare providers, and parenthetically, that's in a day and age when there's a predicted dearth of physicians, nurses, dentists, and public health experts. We are the pipeline, and we will be able to grow that pipeline on behalf of the region and the Commonwealth. We want to expand our research programs, and one of the aspects of this partnership is that we'll be able to immediately expand our research programs statewide. That's what KentuckyOne brings to the table in a very big way, and what we bring to the table, we have a tertiary care center, we have a level 1 trauma center, we have programs that are absolutely superb and internationally recognized, and in one fell swoop, patients out in the Commonwealth at a KentuckyOne hospital or another hospital can be referred into our 650 University of Louisville physician providers, all experts in their areas of expertise. We'll be able to bring new therapies to the entire Commonwealth with this reach. And I think, more importantly, we need to mention that this is likely to become immediately a model that is viewed on the national stage as something that other people want to embark upon. I want to close by personally thanking Governor Steve Beshear and Attorney General Jack Conway for their guidance and support. People oftentimes complain about governmental bureaucracy and meddlesome government. But what I've experienced during this process has been to see good government in action through both their offices. I also want to thank Larry Hayes, Mary Lassiter, Holly Hopkins, Sean Riley, and Larry Bond for their unflagging efforts in this process. And I appreciate, once again, the trust that Jim Ramsey and the Board of Trustees of the U of L have placed in me to negotiate this and bring this to fruition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. The University Medical Center, UMC, was actually created at the time that our good friends at Humana got out of the hospital business and focused more on their line of business in insurance. And at that time, UMC was created, and Dr. Jim Taylor was recruited to be the chief executive officer for this restructured organization, UMC. So Jim believed in this community, he believed in this hospital, and he has led this organization brilliantly over that period of time. He's seen a lot of change in the hospital, a lot of change in his clientele. He's seen a lot of change in healthcare. But he's worked tirelessly every day to make sure that all the people of this community have access to the very best in healthcare. He and David have been the team to make this partnership a reality. So, Jim, I want to thank you, congratulate you on today, but thank you for all your many years of service and commitment to this community.
Thank you, Dr. Ramsey. And while I don't propose that we break out in song, besides Dr. Ramsey's 10 years at university, it's also his birthday, but I'm not allowed to say which one. Those of you who have been following the progress of University Medical Center over the past few years have heard me say often that the evolving healthcare environment is simply not favorable to a small, standalone inner-city teaching hospital with poor payer mix. It's that reality that has led us to seek a partner with whom University Hospital and the James Graham Brown Cancer Center could continue to grow and to serve. Our partnership with KentuckyOne Health will give the clinical and teaching programs at UMC room to expand, strengthening our role both as the community safety net hospital and as a statewide referral center. In addition, UMC will continue to offer a full range of women's health services in our Center for Women and Infants, which will continue to be managed by UMC. That means that there will be no change in the scope, location, or provision of women's care, including reproductive health services and our Level 3 neonatal intensive care unit. In fact, the Center for Women and Infants will soon begin a full renovation and equipment upgrade and will benefit from a $17 million fund established to ensure leadership in women's and infant services far into the future. I'd like to personally thank the UMC board and its chairman, Bob Ronzolo, for the thoughtful and decisive leadership throughout this now a successful process. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Obviously, we wouldn't be here today if we didn't have a partner who had the same vision for enhancing health care for all Kentuckians that we at the University of Louisville have. Ruth Brinkley has led KentuckyOne since its inception last January. In that short time span, we've seen the effort she has made in leading this organization to improve the overall health care within our state. KentuckyOne's commitment to meeting the community needs was a driving force in our choice of KentuckyOne as a partner. Ruth, it is with great pleasure that we enter into this partnership. We're excited. I hope you're excited. And we look forward to working with you to improve health care for all the people of Kentucky for many years to come.
Thank you, Dr. Ramsey, and good morning to all who are with us today. This is a great day. I want to start by saying how pleased I am to be here today with Governor Beshear, Attorney General Conway, and Mayor Fisher, as well as the leadership of the University of Louisville, President Ramsey, Dr. Dunn, and Dean Gansel, and the President of University Medical Center, Jim Taylor. While KentuckyOne Health is a young organization, we have a very long history with University Medical Center and University of Louisville. That relationship has been through Jewish Hospital and Medical Center. And today's joint operating agreement announcement positions us very, very well to build on our decades of work together. This work has resulted in several medical advancements and innovation, and our long-standing commitment to charity care for all who need it, the community, the commitment to this community, and to the Commonwealth at large. We know all too well the health challenges that Kentucky faces, from a significant shortage of physicians to a high incidence of disease. To meet those challenges head-on and to provide quality care for all Kentuckians, Kentucky needs a premier and sustainable integrated health system. We firmly believe that KentuckyOne Health, together with a thriving university medical system and center, will be that system. The KentuckyOne Health mission is certainly at the heart of all that we do as an organization. It is built around what we believe are audacious goals to improve health care across the Commonwealth. We want to partner with physicians to help us in guiding, governing, and managing our system. We want to also have an unwavering, and we do have an unwavering commitment to a core belief of providing medical care and health care to all of our citizens, irrespective of their ability to pay. Our missions are remarkably aligned with University of Louisville and University Medical Center. And this shared mission makes this new partnership and the integration of culture one that is primed for success. Our combined size, scope, and talent position us as the only system in Kentucky that can truly address population health management in a meaningful way. Building upon our organization's complementary strengths, we can reach farther, be better, and do more together as we move even closer to our shared vision for a healthier Kentucky. Above all, however, this collaboration and shared mission will contribute to improving healthcare outcomes for the local community and throughout Kentucky. We will focus on teaching and academics, charity care, and research and innovation. This partnership will create an integrated, comprehensive health system that will change healthcare for generations to come, and it's all beginning here today. As I close, I want to recognize and thank several people for their guidance and support along this journey. Certainly, I want to thank Governor Beshear and Attorney General Conway for their confidence in this relationship. I also want to thank our KentuckyOne board members who are here, and if they would please stand, I would appreciate it and just be recognized. I also want to thank our sponsors, and I'm going to ask our Jewish Heritage Fund for Excellence sponsors to stand up and be recognized. And I also want to thank our Catholic Health Initiatives sponsor for their support. One person I want to particularly thank, and that's Paul Edgett. Paul is our Senior Vice President with CHI, and I want to thank Paul for his counsel and hard work in this effort. Paul, would you please stand? Finally, I want to recognize and thank those who will be instrumental in implementing the Joint Operating Agreement. And those people are Belinda Rutledge, who is our president of Jewish Hospitals and Medical Center, and also our Louisville market leader, and Bev Weber, our chief operating officer for KentuckyOne Health, and Dr. Stephen Rabel, one of our KentuckyOne Health board members and a practicing physician in our KentuckyOne Health system. We are very much looking forward to this partnership with the University of Louisville and University Medical Center as we realize this very exciting and compelling vision. We thank you for all that you have been to us, and thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Dr. Tony Gansell is our interim dean for the School of Medicine at the University of Louisville. Tony stepped into her position in March and has been deeply involved with David and Jim as we secure the resources necessary for the School of Medicine so that we can train the next generation of physicians and continue to conduct research and grow our research programs at the University of Louisville. Tony, thank you for your leadership.
What an historic day for the School of Medicine and for all of our schools that have the responsibility of training the next generation of healthcare providers who will dedicate themselves to advancing the health and well-being of our community, our Commonwealth, and beyond. This is a special partnership because it will not only enable us to build upon strong clinical and research programs that currently exist with KentuckyOne, such as cardiovascular, transplant, and neuroscience, but will also allow us to develop new programs and to expand our clinical sites across the state. By having these additional training sites, more young people will experience the exciting opportunities available throughout the Commonwealth and be inspired to practice in those locations. We now have the resources to develop interprofessional educational opportunities for students across the health sciences school, to better prepare them to work as collaborative, multidisciplinary teams as they care for patients. The key to accomplishing all of this is that we now have the resources to attract, recruit, and retain the highest quality faculty possible. These are the people that are our teachers, our researchers, and our clinicians. I want to thank everyone who has worked so tirelessly to make this partnership possible.
Thank you, Tony. As we've said repeatedly, as every speaker has said repeatedly, today's announcement is about ensuring the best health care for all the people of our community and region. We appreciate the assistance of Mayor Greg Fisher and his staff for making this partnership possible. Greg, thank you for all your efforts and all that you do for the university and for our city and community.
Thank you, Jim, and I'll be brief. Lots been said today. I'd like to thank my Chief of Staff, Ellen Hessen, over here, who's been also great throughout this whole process and providing guidance to all parties involved. So thank you, Ellen, for your good work every day. Well, our community certainly has gone through a period of uncertainty while this merger has been discussed, or this agreement has been discussed really over the last multiple years now. So it's happened under a context of extraordinary change as well about health care in our country. So I'm very glad to see our local story come to a close right here. It's been a long time with a lot of good people working through a lot of very difficult issues. And I know there's been frustration over the years as well, but it's been said up here, I think it shows, as the Attorney General said, that the process worked. We were able to work through all of this so we could get to the optimum position for all involved, whether it be the city, the state, the university, our various patient and advocate groups as well. So I hope everybody can see what went into this decision, and this ending is one for all of us, from physicians to researchers to medical students to patients and again to advocates, that you all can be comfortable and proud of how everybody worked together on this, because it took a lot of work from a lot of people to get to this position that we're in here today. Now, through this partnership, our community has the guarantee that we will continue to have every level of health care service that we had before. Important and complex policy issues were worked through here. Everybody understands that. Now, additionally, and from our perspective, which was equally important, we have the guarantee that our city's flagship university will have the resources that it needs to continue to lead in the discovery for new treatments and cures, and have the ability to train the next generation of healthcare providers. The infusion of capital investment from KentuckyOne is enormously important to the future of the University Hospital and the future of our city as well. I brag on the University of Louisville all the time, and so it's really great to see this come together today. KentuckyOne's increasing presence in our community is something that we're all proud of. They've stepped up many different times, from community initiatives to health initiatives, to show how important their increased presence is with us here as well. So, important day, a great day, not just for our city, but for our region and our state as well. Every city, every great global city, every great national city like we are needs a great university, and that's our University of Louisville. And every great university needs a great medical school, and this is all coming together for us here today. The city is extremely grateful for the hard work of everybody involved to put this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. We're going to open the floor for questions in just a second, but before we do, I want to offer my personal thank you to the Governor, Attorney General, for their thoughtful leadership throughout this process. It wouldn't have happened without that guidance and leadership. We're going to, we have to recognize that the Governor, Attorney General, the Mayor, Dr. Ramsey have other obligations, and not too long from now. So as we open up for questions, if you have questions for any of the four of them, please ask those first. And once we've addressed those, we'll let them get on their way, and the rest of us on stage will be available to answer questions as long as they're reasonable. So please, if you have a question for one of those four gentlemen, raise your hand and we'll recognize you. And yes, sir.
I guess for the Governor and the Attorney General, Can you talk about your level of involvement? Was it something where they would come to you occasionally and say, you know, how does this look? Or was it something where you were in regularly on some of the negotiations in terms of
Well, the Attorney General and I agreed that it was not our job to pick the best proposal for the University of Louisville and for the medical center. Our job was simply to work with the parties to make sure that the concerns that had been raised before were adequately addressed in any proposal that the university would consider. And so we worked, our staffs worked with the university personnel as they went through this RFP process in terms of the review and the negotiation of various terms. They would bounce things off of us in terms of ideas, and I think obviously the university, as well as the other parties involved, really led those negotiations. I'll let Jack.
Not too much to add to that. At the end of last year, as we were going through what we went through, the governor and I talked on several occasions, and I think we both recognized that University Hospital had a long-term planning issue. They weren't going to be able to survive as they were as a standalone 330-bed hospital with the amount of indigent patients that they had. So we wanted to encourage all the parties to continue to look at some sort of long-term agreement. We wanted to encourage a transparent process, one that followed state procurement guidelines. So University Hospital and UMC went through this process. Once they had identified bidders and they had taken a look at potential scores, they came to the governor and came to me and came to our staffs. This was in the late summer, and basically said, here's what we're thinking about. That led to a first draft of term sheets, at which point they would basically say, okay, is there anything in here that's fatal to it? Are we following the guidance of the reports issued in December of 2011? We worked through that process, worked through it diligently until we got to a point where we advised them that we thought it was the type of deal that could proceed while protecting the state asset, while making certain we provided the level of services that were important going forward.
Were there any terms that were fatal to it, and what were those, some of the matters that you guys wanted to change from the early draft of the agreement?
I think after the issues were aired last year, it was very obvious the types of things that needed to be addressed, and I think all parties to these negotiations were very diligent and transparent in addressing those. And so our role became, I think Jack would agree, our role became much easier throughout this process because all of those issues were already out on the table and all the parties were diligent in addressing them.
It's clear how you dealt with, or how they have dealt with the issue of reproductive care, but how about end-of-life care? There were concerns raised last year about end-of-life care as well. How have those been dealt with in this agreement? And is it to your satisfaction? Because I know that
We'll deal with that issue specifically when the governor and the others have left, but if you want to ask them directly.
Yes, that issue as well as the other issues that were raised last year were all adequately addressed in our opinion.
I would just say that there was a long discussion about reserved services in this agreement and what the UMC board is going to continue to control. We went through that list very diligently to make certain that the same level of services, same type of care that was being provided yesterday will be provided next month. And to finish up on your question, sir, there was never really anything that was a fatal flaw. There were suggested changes in language, so to speak, but I think we were working in a confidential and collaborative process.
Governor, both you and Dr. Dunn have referred to the University of Louisville Hospital as a public asset. Does that mean that UMC has abandoned its claim to be a private institution, not subject to transparency and making documents available? And to that end, will all the documents of this deal be made available to the public, and when?
I do know that as a result of these negotiations, some of the terms of these agreements include transparency. And I will let the parties addressed those particulars, but obviously one of the things that we were concerned with was transparency because of the University of Louisville being a public asset, and I believe that has been adequately addressed.
I would agree with the governor as the state officer who addresses open meetings and open records issues and transparency issues. That's something we examined. It's important to keep in mind that the open records and open meetings laws of the Commonwealth do make exceptions for business confidential information. They do make exceptions so that companies that are doing business in the private sector and that have competitors aren't forced to give away competitive information that would put them at a disadvantage. But there were negotiations throughout this process. There are terms in this deal that ensure that documents related to UNC, related to the University of Louisville, that ought to be public will remain public.
Is the state accepting UofL and UNC's claim of being a private organization, a private corporation?
I'm already on record as having issued an opinion about the public nature of the asset, so I'll leave comment on that to the University of Louisville.
We did a story last year about the voluntary reporting of some potential kickback violations and start violations from University Hospital to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Do you feel like there are mechanisms here to make sure that there's adequate oversight that nothing like that's going to happen here?
I think there's adequate oversight here, and if there's any other matters being examined, I'm not at liberty to comment on that.
Governor Beshear, can you ensure that there will not be any staff cuts through attrition or otherwise throughout the medical system and that everyone's job is secure?
Well, as I said in my previous comments, neither the Attorney General nor I viewed our role in this process as one to tell the University of Louisville what their best deal was. That is a business decision that the University of Louisville and the Medical Center and its partners have made collaboratively. Our role was to make sure that whatever deal they proposed to accept met the concerns that both the Attorney General and I and the general public had raised over the last year as we originally went through this process. And so I do believe that there are terms in the agreements themselves about personnel. I'll let the parties address those.
Other questions for the Governor, Attorney General, Mayor, and Dr. Ramsey?
I guess, can you just talk about some of the specifics that you were happy with this time that maybe weren't included in there in the last go-around?
This deal involves a joint operating agreement, and the University of Louisville and the Medical Center retain ownership, and the Commonwealth retains ownership of those public assets. And that's obviously a comforting part of this particular partnership. Secondly, the University and the Medical Center is going to reserve the complete right to provide reproductive services for women, which will allow them to provide the same, if not even better care in the future as we develop new techniques. But they will be able to provide all of the same services that they are providing now, which both the Attorney General and I felt from a policy standpoint was important to the community and to the state.
The only thing I would add to that, obviously, this deal is very specific about going forward, that the governor retains the right to oversee the agreement through the affiliation agreement, the academic affiliation agreement, as well as the lease. The governor, under the prior arrangement, had always had the ability to step in the event of a material change. That is preserved going forward. The governor talked about the reserve services and the assurances that they will be the same going forward. I would like to add as well that the unwind protections are very strong in this. If the governor or the University of Louisville feels a need to make a change, there is a very, very strong unwind provision. The financing looks reasonable and it's well spelled out. So I think the interests of the public have been protected here.
There's time for just one more question.
going to invite the others on stage to come here for any other questions that you may have of any of us. So, as we do so, I think there's just a few people to whom you haven't been introduced. Dr. Makija. Shamila is our chair of Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Women's Health. Next to her is Mary Jane Adams, who's UMC's Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer. Next to Mary Jane, Dr. Marcia Hearn, who is the Dean of the School of Nursing at UofL. I think you've been introduced to everyone else on the stage. So, are there any questions for any of us? Yes, sir.
This is for Ruth Brinkley. How will KentuckyOne Health realize the return on the investment that it is making through this field? What's the mechanism by which the KentuckyOne Health system will move forward?
Our mission, first of all, is to take care of citizens in the Commonwealth. And as we go into the Affordable Care Act and health reform, we know that we're going to have to make changes and move to this era of value-based payments and the like. And so we will figure it out as we go forward. We believe that through the university's partnership with us, that we will be able to provide more cost-effective care and better accessibility across the Commonwealth. And that's our mission.
But is there like a revenue sharing or some mechanism by which you're able to reduce this awfully capital infusion into the hospital?
Our mission is to take care of those in the Commonwealth, and we certainly need to remain solvent. However, we will make sure that we do what is necessary to continue providing care and advance our mission for the future.
Other questions?
I wanted to follow up on the end-of-life care issue. If you can talk about how you dealt with that issue, to make sure that people get the same end-of-life care that they receive today.
The short answer is yes. They will receive the same exact care as they did before. That will not change. The policies will not change.
But how will that be assured? I mean, it looks like you have a mechanism to make sure that the reproductive care will remain the same. But is there any mechanism to make sure that even if it doesn't, even if some kind of end-of-life care does not conform with capital directive, that it can still happen as it does today?
Well, the oversight will be with the UNC, so it's that policy will be maintained. So there's no chance of that happening.
The KentuckyOne Health Hospital here in Louisville, Jewish Hospital, has a very well-defined set of guidelines on end-of-life care that we follow to the extent it's compatible with the ethical religious directives. We have a very well-defined set of instructions on how women's health issues will be handled and emergency and so forth. It appears that the University of Louisville Hospital will have a separate set of procedures and best practices to follow. Will faculty and students, when they move across the street, have to shift back and forth between these two different standards of care in a single medical center?
No.
Next question.
This is for Ms. Brinkley. Could you explain how this directly benefits University, UMC, healthcare, and all the assets? How does this partnership directly benefit the UofL healthcare?
That's a question. Somebody
I'd
from
like Ms. Brinkley to answer the question. That's fine.
I will start, and then I'll share the podium with Dr. Dunn, if that's all right. First of all, we're a mission-driven organization. Both organizations are very, very mission-driven. And we put, as community assets, we're all community assets, and we reinvest our assets back into care of patients and the communities that we serve. So the benefit is to the community. And to the research and education missions that we share. So I'll ask Dr. Dunn to respond more directly.
The direct benefit to the university of Louisville and to UMC is to provide a sustainable financial platform going forward. And as already been mentioned, there's a capital infusion over the 20-year period of this agreement. There are also academic support payments that are guaranteed, and there are additional payments that are coming in from KentuckyOne based upon certain parameters that need to be met, such as expanding certain initiatives, telehealth stroke across the Commonwealth, for example. We have the intention of expanding our research programs, in particular clinical trials, across the entire KentuckyOne platform in the Commonwealth. And one of the other initiatives oft talked about is expanding the reach of the James Brown Cancer Center programs. We have Don Miller here in the audience, and he will lead that with myself and Jim Taylor. But we have every intention of providing many more people in the Commonwealth with the state-of-the-art care that is available here today at UMC through ULP providers.
Dr. Dunn, what will the University of UMC give in return to KentuckyOne Health for this significant investment?
Well, the significant investment is really in people and programs as well as a certain amount of infrastructure. And so we will grow together. This is a synergistic process.
How much of the $1.394 billion is coming from UMC, and how much of it's coming from KentuckyOne Health? Is that all KentuckyOne Health investment, or how's that split?
The entire investment is from KentuckyOne. There are assets, and essentially, maybe to answer Chris's question in a little bit different way, KentuckyOne now has the use of UMC over the 20-year term and is able to manage it, will be able to manage it in a way involving ULP physicians and other providers to create these synergies and grow both economically as well as in terms of our academic programs.
Talk about the level of that management that UMC is going to have, or that KentuckyOne's going to have within UMC.
Would you clarify what you mean specifically?
I guess he said that KentuckyOne will have the use of UMC and be able to manage their positions. I guess give me a little more detail on that.
Well, I think probably the best way to lay this out is to tell you that we will, in many ways, be jointly managing things, such as the investment. And so Ruth and I are the first tier, if you will, to determine how these funds will be invested on an initial basis and then over time. And it's really designed to be a partnership, a beneficial partnership for the organizations, the university, as well as the citizens here in Louisville and the Commonwealth. And I just add again that one of the most important aspects of this is maintaining all clinical services, and in particular maintaining the same level of inpatient care. We could not have guaranteed that without this transaction taking place.
Dr. Dunn, you just elaborated on maintaining clinical care. However, how will this partnership and the investment affect reproductive women's rights going forward, making sure that those services are well funded with the same partnership?
It will not affect them in any adverse way. And so we have run detailed financial pro formas, as Jim Taylor already mentioned. In the Center for Women and Infants, we have a $17 million pool, and that's on top of the fact that the financial pro forma tells us that with the neonatal intensive care unit and the current services being provided there, that it is breaking even or will make some money every year. And then we have an additional $15 million to invest over a multi-year period to upgrade those facilities. This may end up being the state-of-the-art facility for maternal fetal care here in Louisville.
If there are no more questions, we will end this session. Thank you all for being here.